Hi, I'm Steve from the Technoworks store. Today I want to talk to you about ducted vacuum systems and giving you some tips on how to actually install them correctly. There's some things that you need to know before you actually attempt to install the ducted vacuum system. So sit back and watch this video, and hopefully the tips that we contain in this video will help you install your own ducted vacuum system and will make it a really reliable system. Technoworks has a full range of ducted vacuum parts, pipes, fittings and accessories, and all our staff are here to help you. Understanding the principles on how a ducted vacuum system should be installed and understanding the pitfalls and the techniques required to actually install it correctly. Once the system is installed correctly, it will give you many years of trouble-free operation. And it's one of the few systems that you can put inside your house that actually help improve your health aspects. Ducted vacuum systems have been proven to be effective in removing allergens from the house and not recirculating them because it goes to a sealed system. Okay, let's get started. Your ducted vacuum system consists of a number of 50mm PVC tubes, which actually are the ductwork within inside the walls in the house that pulls the dirt around, takes it back to the garage or the basement or whatever area that you actually install the ducted vacuum motor. A couple of things are very important when installing the pipework. One of the fundamental mistakes that people make is that when they actually cut the pipe, they don't cut it square on the end. So we'll go through the basic fundamentals and show you some of the detail regarding how to install it correctly. Let's get started and let's look at the fundamental mistakes that people make when installing a ducted vacuum system. The first thing you need to do is you need to make sure the pipe is actually cut completely square on the end. Nice clean square pipe will give reliable operation, give good seal. The mistake that people do make is they cut the pipe like this using a saw, leaving these jagged pieces inside where items can actually catch and causing problems. It also causes another problem that when that's actually fitted into an actual fitting, you don't get full contact in the fitting. So to give you an idea, I'll just draw around here. You'll see what I mean when we take this out. So there we are, there we have our depth of contact, and you can actually see here on this particular piece of pipe here, because it's been cut, not square, that when you glue this into the actual fitting, you're not going to get a good seal or a good bond because you haven't got the full surface area to make contact with the fitting. This end of the pipe has been cut completely square, and you'll see the difference. So we put this into the fitting. I'll just mark on here just so you can actually see. So what we've got here is we have a nice even full contact, which will give us a good reliable system. And this is, like I said, this is rule one of installing ducted vacuum system. Cutting the pipe must be square, pipe must be clean. The second most important rule of installing a ducted vacuum system and the PVC components is actually how you actually glue the pipe together. A lot of people make the mistake of actually taking the fitting and applying the glue to the fitting. This is not how you install a ducted vacuum system. The glue is always installed on the pipe with the spigot, which is going to push into the actual fitting. This will give a reliable fitting, and we'll show you an example of what happens when you don't do it correctly. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this one, I'm going to glue it correctly, and then we'll do another one, we'll actually glue it by fitting the fittings, and we actually compare the results. When you're applying the glue, apply plenty of glue to the pipe because you really want a good seal. So you don't want to leave any area of the pipe not covered by glue. When you're fitting it into the pipe, if you actually give the pipe a bit of a twist and push it all the way home, you'll actually see this beading around the outside of the pipe, which means you've got a great contact, good seal all around the pipe. What we have here is we've glued the pipe, not the fitting, and you can see inside the pipe we've got a great clean seal in there. It's nice and tight, there's no gaps, and it's all fitted in really nicely. Now what we'll do is we'll actually now glue this and show you what happens when you do it incorrectly. Okay, so what we've done now is, this is the incorrect way to do it. So we've actually glued the fitting, not the pipe, and we've pushed the pipe in. And what you may be able to see inside the pipe there's a whole lot of excess glue, which is actually oozed out and is sitting in the bottom of the pipe, and we've got these little stalactites and little catch areas in there where items will catch. And that's, you know, a really simple thing. Gluing the pipe gives us a nice clean internal finish. Gluing the fitting gives us a messy internal finish. And with a ducted vacuum system, what we're striving to have is a nice clean internal finish for nothing to catch on. About the fittings, there's various different fittings for different purposes with a ducted vacuum. This fitting here is called a short 90, so it's a short 90 degree bend. These fittings should only be used in a number of areas. We try and limit the number of these because the air changes direction so quickly that it'll lessen the efficiency of the ducted vacuum system. So we only use these in key areas like in behind an inlet in the wall where we have limited space, or sometimes where we turn into the machine and we might have a limited space, but typically on a system very few of these should be used. The other fitting which is used to change direction 90 degrees is the 90 degree sweep, and this is the preferred one we use, and we'll use lots of these in a ducted vacuum system to change the direction of the area. It's a nice sweeping design, so the air changes not as suddenly as you can see with the 90 degrees one, and this is, like I said, so this one will be used quite a bit. We have some other fittings which are used for tees and different types of tees, and this is a sweep tee, and we can actually see incorporated into the design of this tee there is a sweep fitting, right, and also a tee. So this is actually used coming off our trunk line or our main branch line to go to a point. Now what's very important here is that ducted systems, it's all about directional flow. So basically what happens is when we're fitting one of these on a trunk line, that this should always be set up so the air is flowing back this way to the motor. So this side of it should be facing down to where the motor is. This side should be facing to our inlet or our vacuum point. If you were to install the tee the wrong way around, and the air's got to try and go around this direction here, you've got a restriction there, you're going to cause all types of problems as far as performance. So simply have a look at the tees, make sure the tees are installed in the correct way. Sometimes you'll need to go in two directions. So this is a Y fitting. It's also a T, but it's unidirectional, so it can actually flow in both directions. So air. So for instance, this could be this here would be running back to the motor. This one here is running back to the motor. So this fitting is used when somewhere in the trunk line you might have to split it in the middle and take the system in two different directions. This is the type of fitting that you use, and again, this one has to be used correctly. We wouldn't place it in line to run a vacuum through that way, because it's designed to take two feeds back to the motor. So again, understanding the fittings and their correct use. The other fitting which a lot of people don't use enough is the 45. The 45 is a very useful fitting. If you need to change direction of the pipe and you've got a lot of room to do it, you can achieve it by using two 45s and doing a 90 degree turn in a more gradual type of situation, which increases performance and efficiency. The other thing which is very handy about a 45 is that once you have a 45, sometimes you need to come over the top of something or come down over a top plate into a wall. By using two 45s you can create an offset, and the offset allows the pipe to come down, change direction, and then continue down again. So the 45 is a very useful fitting. Like I said, a lot of people underestimate the using them when they're actually playing the ducted vacuum system, but it's a great fitting to actually use to do it. Now we talked a little bit before about the pipe and how important it is cutting. You know, the most ideal way to cut pipe is by using a pipe cutter that's actually designed to cut the pipe nice and squarely, but not everyone has access to one of these. If you don't have access to a pipe cutter, there's a couple other things you can do. A drop saw with a suitable number of small tungsten tooth blade in a drop saw can produce a very clean cut. The other thing is a wood panel saw or some other directional saw like that will actually give a great cut as well. Hacksaw hacksaw blade tends to wander off, and you always end up with a bit of a off-skew angle, where say a panel saw is a much stiffer blade that will allow you to cut a much squarer cut. If you are cutting on those blades, use a piece of sandpaper or some other material to remove the dag, so you end up with a nice clean finish. So all your fittings should actually have that nice clean edge to it, so nothing can catch on it. One of the biggest problems with ducted vacuums in servicing is if you come across one in the field that's been done like this and someone sucked up a sock or a stocking, there's a great chance it's going to get caught on one of these barbs, and then other rubbish is going to pack around it, and you have essentially have a plug in the pipe, and the system will stop working. Again, that could have been avoided by using good installation practices and actually cutting the pipe and cleaning the pipe up and making sure it's square. Sometimes it's going to be necessary for whatever reason to join the pipe. So there are pipe joiners which allow you to join the pipe together. Maybe the system's being extended, or you've got some pipe left over and you want to use up. This is a useful fitting. Again, same rule applies. Glue onto the pipe, not on the fitting, and this will give a nice reliable connection. The other thing we'll talk about is the bell mouth on the ducted vacuum pipe. Ducted vacuum pipe comes with one end of the pipe actually has a bell mouth fitting. Now the bell mouth will actually accept pipe, so you can actually glue it in. Same principle applies. You glue the piece of pipe going into the bell mouth, not the bell mouth. One of the most important things when sorting out and setting up your trunk line is using the bell mouth, is that you want the air to flow into the bell mouth. So this should be pointing back towards the motor. What we don't want is the air travelling back up the pipe, hitting that lip inside the pipe, causing extra turbulence and slowing the air down. If the air travels this way, it goes straight over the top of that edge, straight down the pipe. So that's an important thing to remember when you're actually putting in your ducted vacuum line, because you will have to join a number of pipes together to get the required length for your ducted vacuum system. So this is a very simple tip. Just always think the bell mouth should always be, if you push your finger in the bell mouth, your finger should be heading towards the motor. Quite a simple thing to remember.